If you've ever seen the movie Seven with Brad Pitt, you know that the 7 deadly sins can be lethal.
Box, what was in the box?
In regards to investing, what you may not know is that there are 7 deadly sins that can be costing you thousands, if not millions of dollars. And chances are you are committing one of these 7 deadly sins. So in my own personal experience, I actually committed one of these 7 deadly investing sins, and it cost me $5,000. Yes, that's right, 5 G's. So today we're going to find out what are these 7 deadly sins of investing and which sin did I commit where I lost $5 grand. And we're going to find out all that and more right now. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Wealth Hacker TV, the channel dedicated to teaching you new ways to grow wealth that is not taught to you in schools or by your parents. I am your host, Jeff Rose, and we're talking about investing, especially the sins when it comes to investing. Now, I was a financial advisor for over 16 years, so I have met with hundreds of clients. I've talked to thousands of people between my blogs and my podcast in this YouTube channel. And when it comes to investing sins, I have seen it all. I see your sins. I see them. Now, the scariest thing with many of these 7 deadly sins of investing is that many of you don't even know that you are committing them because you don't understand how they work. You don't understand the ramifications because no one has really challenged you, or you're just kind of going with the flow, staying with that status quo. So let's find out what these 7 deadly investing sins are. The first one is being clueless about diversification. Now, you've probably heard that expression, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And yes, there is a lot of truth to that, but many people don't understand how that works, especially in theory. So let me give you some examples. Diversification means we're not putting all our money into one thing, into one stock. We want to make sure that we're spreading our money out. But let's say that you have a 401k. Let's also say that you have investment accounts that have mutual funds or ETFs. What you don't realize is that a lot of these funds, a lot of these ETFs are holding the exact same stocks. So you may have the exact same stocks in the mutual funds in your 401k, and you may have the same stocks in the ETFs or the mutual funds that you own in your personal investment accounts. So you think you're diversified because you've got mutual funds over there, mutual funds over here, but if you actually did a portfolio x-ray to see what you're actually holding, you might be surprised to know or discover that you own a lot of the same stocks. So that's not truly being diversified. I also talk to other people that have the S&P 500 ETF or the Vanguard S&P 500 mutual fund, and they have that fund in their 401k. They have that fund in their personal investment account. Like, that's not being diversified. You just have the top 500 US stocks. Like, there is some diversification with that, but what about international stocks? What about other types of investments? Like, that's not being diversified. Now, if you want to find out, are you diversified? Do you have a lot of the same stocks? There are a few different ways that you can do that. You can get a lot of the information for free off Morningstar. You can input the funds that you own or the ETFs that you own, and they will show you at least the top 10 holdings. Sometimes they'll show you even more to see what stocks you own. If you want to get even more detailed analysis, one of the apps and software programs that I love is called Personal Capital. Personal Capital is free. It allows you to see not just what you own in your accounts, in your investment accounts, but you can sync all your different investment accounts into one place to see everything that you own, to find out, are you truly diversified? Investing sin number 2 is holding way too much cash. And I get it. Cash is king. Cash money, baby. I understand the importance of having cash. We want to have our emergency fund. We want to make sure that we have that cash on hand for investment opportunities. But if you're sitting on too much cash and it's paying you nothing, then you're losing on hundreds, potentially thousands of dollars of interest. I think I shared this recently in another video where I was checking my local bank, which is a national bank, and their savings account, even at the top tier, is paying 0.6%. That is next to nothing. And many of you that don't understand the diversification of your investments, your mutual funds or ETFs, what you may not know is that a lot of these funds hold cash cash in their mutual funds. I've seen mutual funds hold 5%, 10%, maybe even as high as 15% in cash inside that fund, so that you think you have this stock mutual fund that's invested into the market. But the reality is that 15% of that is sitting in cash. And if you run that portfolio x-ray, if you sign up for Personal Capital, you can see, wow, I've got 15% cash in that fund. And I also have all the cash in my checking and my savings. Like, why am I holding 20% or 30% of my entire portfolio in cash? You want to make sure that you're getting paid on your investments. Investing sin number 3 is paying excessive fees. Now, if you think that financial advisors are working for free and they're out for your best interest, they want to make sure that they do the right thing and that they don't make money on helping you, like, okay, hello, knock, 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 hello. If you're working with a financial advisor, they're going to charge you a commission or a fee for their services. Now, more commonly being accepted now is the advisory fee, where you're paying a percentage on the investments that they manage. And you'll often hear 1% is that fee. But you have to remember that 1% is for the financial advisor. That doesn't consider the internal expenses of the investments that you own. For example, on average, mutual funds' internal expense is 1.31%. So if you're paying 1.31% on the mutual fund and 1% to the financial advisor, now your all-in cost is 2.31%. Now, once again, that's just the average of mutual funds. There are mutual funds that will charge more. There are some that will charge less. ETFs on average will charge you much less, but you still have to pay for the advisor fee, whatever that is. Several years ago, we took on a new client, and when we looked at his portfolio, we asked him, how much do you think that you are paying in fees on all your investments? Now, he really had no idea, but he just guessed a couple $100 because he really couldn't look through his statements to see what his all-in cost was. Now, when we were able to do a portfolio report on his investments and we looked at the internal cost of the investments on top of the advisory fee that he was paying, he wasn't paying a couple $100. He actually was paying over $5,500 per year on his portfolio, a far cry from the couple $100 that he thought he was paying. Now, if you're working with a financial advisor, the number one question that you can ask them in working with them is, what is my all-in cost? How much am I going to pay for everything in working with you? And if that advisor can't answer that question, then you need to fire that advisor or get out of their office and find somebody else who's willing to share that all-in cost, because they can find out what their fee is. They know that number, but if they aren't willing to share that with you, then they cannot be trusted. Boom. Investing sin number 4 is tacky tax planning. Now, I hate paying taxes. I don't like to give up 30, 40% or more of my money to the IRS, to Uncle Sam. But then again, I do love this country and I'm going to pay my fair share. But if there are ways that I can reduce the amount of taxes I'm paying, then I'm going to use those to my advantage. That is what all wealthy people do. You identify what are those tax loopholes that allow you to minimize your tax burden. Now, for many of you that maybe have not reached that 30, 40% tax bracket, there are still ways that you can benefit and take advantage of proper tax planning. One of the easiest ways that you can do that is utilizing the Roth IRA. Now, the Roth IRA is by far one of the most greatest investment vehicles that anybody can use, especially if you like tax-free money. Yes, I said tax-free. If you're really not familiar about the Roth IRA, check out another video I did where I talk about how you can become a Roth IRA millionaire. It will give you everything you need to know about the Roth IRA and why it is a great tool. Now, the Roth IRA is not the only thing that you can take advantage of. There's also the 401k. There's also tax-deferred compensation plans. There's 403bs. These are more pre-tax, but they still give you some tax benefits if you take advantage of it. You just need to understand, what are your options? What options do you have? Which ones do you need to take advantage of? And that's why working with a financial expert that can help you choose the best one for you makes a ton of sense, instead of wasting time, wasting money trying to figure it all out. Investing sin number 5 is day trader syndrome. Now, let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. If you think that you can just become a day trader by flipping on a switch and opening up an investment account and start trading stocks, like, you're a bit mistaken. Like, it doesn't work that way. And this is actually the investment sin that I committed. Not saying that I thought I could become a day trader, but there was a time earlier in my career where I thought that I could buy a stock, a penny stock, and I was going to turn this small investment into thousands and thousands of dollars. And what ended up happening was it cost me $5,000. And that's because I didn't understand what I was doing at the moment. I didn't fully understand stop limits and how to execute those types of trades because I was new. I was a rookie. I didn't seek advice from others. I wanted to learn my way. Well, my way cost me $5,000. Now, that was just trying to place one trade. But if you look at the reports and all the data on day traders, on average, 90 to 95% of them lose money. They don't make money. And I love when I talk to somebody that has just started dabbling in day trading and I ask them, like, oh, how much money have you made? Like, oh, I'm up like 3% or I made 8%. Like on one trade? Like what about the other 4 or 5 trades where you lost money? Like, is that your net return or are you just giving the return off one purchase? Okay, does that mean you cannot make money day trading? Oh yeah, you sure can, but it takes time. It takes time to learn it. It also takes time to manage it. So just don't think that you can become a day trader overnight. It doesn't work that way. Investing sin number 6 is letting the headlines derail you. Okay, so if you don't know this already, media outlets, everything you read online, like all the headlines, all that is meant to do is sell advertising. They want to get your attention. They want you to click on the link. They want you to watch the news because they want you. That's how they make their money. That's how they sell their advertising, by getting more eyeballs, getting more viewers. So it's with these headlines that just pull people towards them and make you watch it, even though it doesn't really apply to you. Case in point example, I had a client who is retired, and this is a couple years ago. He called me because he was just so stressed out. He was beyond his rational mind because he saw a headline on CNBC that said the average 401k balance has lost $37,000. And he called me because he was so stressed out. He thought that he was losing money hand over fist. But the funny thing about that was he was retired. He didn't even have a 401k. But when he saw that headline, like he just thought that applied to him and he was freaking out. Now, yes, his account was down a little bit, but it wasn't down anything close to what he was seeing online, and that had nothing to do with him and his personal situation. So don't let these news headlines affect you as far as how you go about investing and making you change whatever your investment strategy is just because you saw a headline. You got to know what your goals are. You have to know what you're working towards and not shift or change just because you saw a catchy clickbait headline. Investing sin number 7 is being in debt denial. Listen, there's no way that you're going to build wealth. There's no way that you can invest for your future when you are drowning in debt, especially if you have no clue how much debt you have or how bad your debt situation is. I'm all for people that want to start investing when they have some debt, even if it's like $25 to $50 per month, just so that you can get your feet wet with investing. But I only recommend that for those that know how much they have in debt. How much is their interest rate? What is their debt payoff plan? Like, when is this debt going to be gone? When is it going to be eradicated, annihilated, so that they have no more debt to burden with them, with the stress and just having to manage all those payments? So until you get to that point, you have no business investing. And this also goes to those people that have debt, let's say like a student loan debt where they're paying 4% interest on that student loan debt, and they say, oh, well, I can invest the money I have into the S&P 500, into the stock market that's making 8%. So like that's a 4% gain. Listen, that sounds great in theory, but in practice, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because the one thing that you are not taking into account is the emotional aspect that all human beings, when it comes to investing, we can't control our emotions because we see those headlines, because we get enchanted with new things that we want to buy. There's just always things that come up in life that are going to keep us from making that 8%. to be able to pay off that 4% spread on the investing. So don't ever think that you can take a cash advance on a credit card, or if you have any way to borrow against your home or take out a second mortgage or a HELOC and invest and make up the difference. Like, you're probably going to, no, it's not. You're going to lose money. Don't even go down that path. But most importantly, you better know how much debt you have, know what the interest rate is before you start investing. So yeah, I was trying to be a day trader, or more like a penny stock trader, and I lost $5,000. It still makes me sad to this day, but I learned so much through that experience. Now I'm curious, which one of these 7 deadly investing sins are you committing right now? If you are brave enough, share which one of these you are doing, which one you're committing in the comments below, so that we all can learn. And we don't want to laugh at you. We want to learn. Like, you can laugh at me. I lost $5,000 on this stupid penny stock. So I'm not going to laugh. I want to learn. We all want to learn, because we all want to hack our wealth. We all want to be financially free. And the way that we do that is by learning from our experience and our experience from others. That's what this wealth hacker community is all about. Hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. Once again, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.